between. Sit between. Sorry.
Yeah, come here. We got a story to read.
Yeah.
You want to hear it?
Look at this. Ready? Oh, isn't that nice? Once upon a time, on a planet not unlike the one which we stand today, a beautiful little baby girl was born.
And her family rejoiced. She was all her parents wanted her to be. Lovely, bright, caring, happy, and a little bit mischievous. She lived with her mom and dad, brothers and sister. Her name was Sophia, and she was content.
After a little time had passed, on another part of the planet, a little boy was born. His parents were over the moon. He was happy, smart, inquisitive, and full of energy. He lived with his mom and dad and little sister, and they loved him. His name was Ryan, and he was content as well.
As they grew, they enjoyed being alive. Sophia loved to swim and sing. She went on trips. Played the days away with her siblings and cousins, and learned lots of things at school. As she grew older, she learned to play the piano and play soccer, dance and sing and write, and help people.
Ryan loved some of the same things that Sophia did. He was curious and smart and active, and he loved lights, so much so that his first word was light. He was inventive and hardworking and outdoorsy. He learned to help people too.
He and Sophia had so much in common that they were separated by thousands of miles. Unbeknownst to them, as they grew, their lives grew closer and closer together.
Now, I don't know if you know, but everyone has storms in their lives. Storms that are big and storms that are small. They tempest and rage throughout our lives, and some overtake people. People can get lost in their storms. Sophie and Ryan, just like every other human, were beset by storms, some small, some big. And they got lost. Lost in that deep, dark storm with no way out. Good thing they had a fairy godmother. She was not like any fairy godmother you've seen before. She was not old and wise. She was not stately and beautiful. But she was a fairy godmother still.
Though she didn't exist when they were born, or when they took their first steps, or when they first drove a car. When the storms came, she provided a light. Like a lighthouse to two ships, she was a beacon against the crashing thunderclaps and bright lightning strikes, and whipping winds that sought to blow Sophie and Ryan apart. That fairy godmother knew that she needed to guide them together.
She knew that she could be a rock on which they could build the house of their love.
So one day, through great effort, I assure you, she summoned up all her power and focus, waved her magic wand, and flashed her dazzling smile and twirled. She twirled and twirled and twirled until any reasonable human would be queasy. And voila! The light that she had within her, that captivated Ryan, that drew in Sophie, shone through and would not be extinguished by those storms.
And they were led by that light to a small corner of their planet,
on which stood a little house at the edge of a small town. And before you know it, they were about to spend the rest of their lives together, guided through the storms of life by the bright light of a young fairy godmother. And whatever storms may come, they will live happily ever after.
Happily ever after.
Happily.
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 Happily ever after.
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 And we live happily ever after.